Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielsen and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome inside The Lock Shop. Dusty back with you once again. Hustle will be popping by here shortly. Pat Gregoire, old P. Greggy, is going to join us from Coolbet. He'll be by around 11:30 Edmonton time today. 1:30 Eastern. He will slide in. VR Montenegro says, effing Lions. And you are right. I mean, we're going to have a discussion here about the Lions because we didn't bet them. Now, with that being said, you know, we did say, well, we couldn't bet them because of the suspension that we put them on. However, I did feel pretty good about the Broncos kind of keeping it close. I did not expect Jared Goff to go off for 5 passing touchdowns against the Broncos. D. Huss, what's up, buddy?
What is up? Well, let me just say this. That was an underwhelming Sunday of football. Started off pretty nice on Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday was decent.
Late games yesterday were trash. Like, what a no-show by the Cowboys in Buffalo. Like,
yeah.
Just I mean, when you think they might have their shit together.
What did you say? What did you say about Mike McCarthy, Huss?
Yeah, I know.
You said it.
I really thought that they'd sort of graduated to the next level. They haven't. They have not. And that's a devastating loss for them too, because I mean, if they can't win big games on the road, you know what's a good idea? Play at home, win the division. And anyways, they're a mess, or they were a mess yesterday. I mean, they're still a really good and really talented team. But I mean, I don't know about you. It just seems like it's San Fran and everybody else right now. Another just smashing of a team. And you know what? Shout out to Arizona for actually showing up. And if you had told me that they would have done what they did offensively, I would have felt pretty good about, 12.5 points. But the Niners are such an absolute wagon when it comes to that offense. I mean, everyone making it happen. It was good. How did your fantasy? Were you in any fantasy playoffs or? I've
got a big matchup remaining tonight in my Marvel versus DC Dynasty Nerd League, where my Men of Steel, I get to represent Superman in this league. I need 10 points from Lamar Jackson tonight. Not Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts. I need 10 points from Jalen Hurts tonight, which should happen. I know he's questionable and he's not feeling well. But boy, give me one tush push and one scramble for 20 yards.
Hey, just quickly, let me drop this on you and our listeners for a moment. Fantasy football ethics question.
Okay.
So I am in a playoff game and I, like you, have Hurts. And I heard this business, how he's sick. He's been downgraded to questionable. He's not traveling with the team. It's a Monday nighter. So before the game, I'm just sort of going to the league. And I realize that my opponent has picked up Mariota and went and picked up Drew Lock. So is that fair game, or is that a very greasy move?
Part of me, first of all, I would have had to have the roster room to make it happen, I would guess, right?
He just dropped guys. You're in the playoffs right now. I mean, he just dropped a couple backups to pick those guys.
Well, but when did he drop the backup? Like, when did he make this move?
At like 11:50, just right before kickoff of the early game. So he
yesterday,
okay, a couple guys that he wasn't playing.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. To be honest with you, I'm impressed. I'm impressed by it, Huss. I am. Like, that's he's playing chess. The rest of you are playing checkers. You know what I mean? Like, that's pretty clever. That's pretty clever. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's greasy as hell. It's greasy as hell.
It's both.
But yeah, exactly. It's brilliant and greasy. Like, yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, Duck Dad, you play to win the game or to screw your opponent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to sort of like I fired off a few scuds in the chat, but I kind of went, God damn it. I mean, listen, I think if Marcus Mariota was in as my quarterback, I don't think I'm winning the game anyways.
How many points did you say you needed?
What do I need here? I'm down by 22. I've got Hurts and AJ Brown.
Oh.
And he has Elliott. And then this is the IDP league. We've each got a defensive guy. He's got Reddick and I've got Keith Byard. So I'm in, and you know how it is. Like, you get to this point in the season. I was in 7 leagues this year. I made the playoffs in 6.
That's good.
Yeah. And I had no buys. I've won 4 of these games.
4 semifinals. I like it.
So, and here's the wild thing. It's coming down to it. So I just laid out the scenario where I need Hurts and Brown. Unfortunately, I'm going against Hurts and Brown in my other league, except I've got a 38-point lead there, and I've got Devonta Smith. So there is a scenario, probably 30-40% scenario, where I could actually go 6-0 in the playoffs with all different rosters. And that would be a borderline miracle. It would also pretty much assure me of going 0-6 next year in the week that in the week that really matters, where you're guaranteed to get some money if you get to the finals. But I will take it. I needed a good fantasy week because it was very mediocre for yours truly. I was 2-3 against the spread. I'm glad I added Cleveland as that last pick. And even that was fortunate. How about Mooney dropping the Hail Mary?
Yeah, how about that, hey? Bouncing around after it, just it was
he had it. He absolutely had it.
Yeah, he did. I was on the Browns in that one, so I was more than fine with it. So that worked out relatively well yesterday. You can hit us up in the Nasty Chat. Hey, the Nasty Chat parlay hit. That was good. Yes. That was 2 overs on the shot totals, right?
Who were the guys that dropped that? That probably had Rod.
It was Rod Z, and who else was on that one? I'm sure they'll tell us.
Richard Croft is in the chat. What's up, Rick? Yes. Okay. Now enough with the football. D-Mart, NHL Jets are flying. Lookout League. Duck Dad. Time to start riding the Winnipeg wagon. Dude, this team right now.
Even without Kyle Connor, they still find a way, hey?
Yeah, the Macarena man, Gabriel Velarde, just stepping up. And
okay, so bring me up to speed on this Macarena man stuff.
Well, that's his goal song.
Oh, you guys roll out individual goal songs?
Yeah, every player has
We're not there yet here in Edmonton.
Jets started doing that last year. It is
is it awesome?
Oh, it's the best. It's the best. I mean,
so people are up doing the Macarena when Velarde scores.
Well, this is the thing. That was the first time he'd scored at home because he'd been out. He scored against the Kings and then came back. And yeah, he got the first one. And then, oh my God, okay, it's the Macarena. And then he scored again later on in the game. And there were some more people getting into it. It's hilarious. He did an interview today after the morning skate before tonight's game against Montreal. And 75% of the questions were about the Macarena. How did he think about it? Where did he get it on? So yeah, I mean, it's not normally on the playlist, but let's hope it's on the playlist each and every night. You know, it was funny. Sam Gagner, who now, of course, is in Edmonton, his goal song last year was Mr. Brightside. And which is another good one. People loved it. He scored a few goals early in the season last year when everyone was just sort of getting introduced to them all. And then when he came back with the Oilers and they did a little, hey, welcome back, Sam, they, of course, played that.
Brilliant.
And you know what? We almost had the song that everyone wants to hear more than anything. Connor Hellebuck has a goal song, Gangnam Style. Gangnam Style.
That is
God. And he tried it. he took a shot the other day, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, could that be
Gangnam Style"? That'll be amazing. That's the perfect song if a goalie scores a goal. Like everybody can just start. Oh, that'd be amazing. I like
Can
it,
you
man.
imagine Hellebuck scoring and then doing the hey?
Yeah.
It'd be so great.
Well, he should. He has to deliver if that's the case. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, shout out to Spency 5 Centsy. The over Giroux is you. And I blindly rode that with you guys. I was out for dinner on Friday. I was checking the things. I'm like, there we go. The Giroux, or no, the Killorn. Killorn was like easy. That was only over 1.5. It was 4 early on. But anyways, shout out, guys. We got to do a little more of that because you guys are so sharp. But yes, back to the goal songs for individual players. Huge hit. Jets were one of, if not the first team to do it. I'm not really sure. Basically, how it works is the team will score. They play the regular goal song for about 4 or 5 seconds and just confirm who the goal scorer was, and then quickly switch over to the Macarena in the case of Gabriel Velarde, or what other song that the guys have picked up. But yeah, no, it is good times, and as I say, it's very good times right now in the stands at Canada Life Center because the Jets are rolling. How about that? In the last 9 days, 2 wins over Colorado and 1 over the LA Kings. I just saw the Athletic do their top 5 teams. Still sleeping on them, but that's fine.
How far? I don't have a subscription to the Athletic anymore. How far down were the Jets?
They only did the top 5, and then they also did an honorable mention, and the Jets were not in any of those. And the Kings and the Avalanche were 4 and 5 in the list. So bulletin board material for the Jets going into it.
Hey, your Jets tonight are minus 240 favorites at home against the Habs. I'm assuming you have a little WST parlay a little bit later on.
Yeah, we should definitely put something together right now for that one. As they say, the money line is a big number. I mean, I guess you could think of what's the puck line right now, plus 110 on minus 1.5. Habs have been a frisky team though.
I think that's why it's such a huge swing from the money line to the puck line. Hey,
I think they're a lot better than. Or at least their results have been better than many of us have expected. But as who was it that just threw in the Spency 5 cents? He gave Velarde over 2.5 shots. 2.0 on Coolbet, has hit in 5 of the last 6 games. And he's feeling it right now. He's actually scored on backhands the last couple of games. Wicked backhand.
Wicked hot backhand.
Yeah, you don't see those too many times. But Richard Croft, do we have a date on March 26th? I will buy the beer. What's March 26th, Richard? Fill me in. Maybe that's is that the Oiler game?
I'm trying to. I was just going to look that up. That's the only thing I can think of. I mean, why else would we have a date?
That might be. Maybe a certain Matthew will be a date. Yes. Well, I'm down for that. I'll definitely be at the game, my man. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, Oilers and Jets, 6:00 Tuesday night, March 26th. Beautiful. That'll be a big game. It'll be a big game indeed. Everything's wrong here in Edmonton right now. They won 8 in a row, got 57 shots against the Lightning, lost, and then actually played a bad game against the Florida Panthers, and people are freaking out today. So they've broken up the McDavid line at practice today. And, the trade is on for a goalie again. And Brown and McLeod are struggling, obviously. And, yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, about the Oilers with that horrible start put them in a situation that,
Buddy, they won 8 in a row, and they're still in 13th.
You can't go in on any losing streaks.
No.
We weren't joking when it said this was going to take months to sort of bounce back from. And 8 in a row will take care of things, a big chunk of it right off the bat. But the minute you lose 3 in a row, a lot of that work has been done. I mean, they're still under 500 for the season at 13, 14, and 1. And now the Kraken and Calgary are ahead of them, but they both played 3 and 4 more games. So, I mean, they're really in 4th right now. But here's the thing. The Preds have won 4 in a row. They're comfortably in that first wild card spot. And then the Arizona Coyotes have 32. The Blues have 31. There's all sorts of you got to pass multiple teams, not just one team that's ahead of you.
Yeah.
So what's the Oilers' week like coming up?
They go on a 3-game trip out to New York before Christmas, including back-to-backs. So it's not ideal. And then they do like a California trip in between Christmas and New Year's. So that should help a little bit with San Jose and Anaheim. But yeah, they roll out. They get the Islanders and then the Devils and Rangers back-to-back. So not an easy little 3-game trip, buddy. With the Islanders haven't played better lately. The Rangers are the Rangers, and they beat the Devils 4-1 here, but this might be a different story in New Jersey.
I mean, they got to get 2 of those 3.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, if all of a sudden you go 1 and 2, well, it's another week.
And then you've lost 4 of 5, including the last 2 they just had, right? So
yeah. Well, those Florida teams. I mean, the Lightning game was a little bit of an outlier, but I was thinking that Florida game was going to be tough, especially considering the Panthers had just gotten waxed by the Canucks 4-0. And Maurice, I mean, there's a few things that Maurice is definitely good at, but reminding his players that, to be much better after bad losses, I would say certainly is it is one of the things that he is known for. So they got that done, and we'll see. Yeah, I mean, I know we're going to get to football in a minute, but why don't we take a look at these 5 games tonight in the National Hockey League? I think Patty was going to come in.
Yeah, Patty froze, but he's trying to reconnect here. I'll have Matty come and slide him in here. But yeah, so let's lay on the hockey, and then we'll bring in P. Greggy. We got 5 games tonight. Red Wings at home against the Ducks, Wild and Penguins, the Habs and the Jets, as we kind of mentioned, Kraken and the Stars, and then the Panthers and the Calgary Flames. Hus, anything jump off the page for you here?
Well, Ducks are going right back at it. I don't actually mind the puck line for the Red Wings tonight. Ducks had a great win last night in New Jersey. They pumped them 5-1. But you don't see too many teams going Sunday, Monday, back-to-backs with travel in between. And Detroit is coming here to the Peg on Wednesday. So I certainly like Detroit in that game. Again, I don't normally lay too many 235 favorites, but I will consider jumping on that puck line. Minnesota's playing Pittsburgh. Speaking of bouncing back after bad losses, they got a touchdown hung on them by the Leafs on Saturday night. The Penguins did. No Marc-Andre Fleury tonight. Gustafson's playing. He's been a lot better, and the Wild have been playing well. I don't know if you have a thought on that game. Like, I usually like betting teams that just got embarrassed to come back and be a heck of a lot better in their next game. So I think I'd sort of look at Pittsburgh, but Minnesota is sort of in a Oilers situation. They're playing desperate hockey right now, considering their start to the season and where they're at in. Obviously, we got the Jets, Canadians, and then Seattle, Dallas. Dallas a minus 190 favorite. They lost an OT, I believe, OT or a shootout to the Blues on the weekend. And then the Florida Panthers and the Calgary Flames. Florida minus 119. Calgary's in rough shape right now, although they might get Tanev back, which would be a big boost to big boost. But I don't know. I'm kind of feeling the Panthers in this one.
Yeah, I was just looking at the starting goalies quickly here. Ville Husso is confirmed. We got lots of confirmations already. Husso's confirmed to start against the Ducks. Dosal is unconfirmed right now because of the quick turnaround there. Gustafson versus Nedeljkovic in that Minnesota-Pittsburgh game. Those 2 are confirmed. Jake Allen confirmed for Montreal. Somebody had a Jake Allen stat in the nasty chat. Where was that one? Let's see if I can find that. It was about here we are.
Yeah, Mark. Allen's 0-7 since beating the Jets in a shootout in late October.
Yeah. And then for Dallas, Wedgwood is confirmed, of course, with Ottinger banged up there. Joey Decord unconfirmed for the Kraken. Markstrom confirmed for the Calgary Flames. Bobrovsky, who played against Edmonton and played well against Edmonton, unconfirmed at this point, but I would think likely for the Panthers tonight. So I don't know if the goaltenders change your opinion on any of this, Haas. I would ride with you on the Florida Panthers for sure. I like that Detroit Red Wings money line play as well, or the puck line play. So those are two that I really like. Let's see
Yeah,
here. What do
I mean, I do like the Jets.
Detroit -1.5. The Jets. What's the Jets in regulation?
I like that. -145.
Jets in regulation -145. Let's see here. So Red Wings puck line. We go Jets
and reg.
in
In Florida plus 537.
That's our wheelhouse, isn't it? And we got Florida money line, right? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. No, I like that. Let's. You want to throw that into a little parlay for the day?
Yeah, unless we want to take the Jets out and go with the Minnesota or Pittsburgh, but I think that's really is.
I feel a lot better about the Jets, I think.
Or Dallas at home. Dallas and reg is -115 over Seattle.
Yeah, I guess it comes down to your thoughts on Wedgwood getting the start there. I'm just.
Well, I mean, what has Seattle done? Let's check on the Kraken. They just lost to the Kings. They pounded the Blackhawks. They beat the Panthers, and before that, they lost like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in a row. Dallas coming off a loss. They've lost 2 in a row 3 times this season.
Well, I mean, are you just worried about the Jets ruining this for us? Is that kind of?
Yeah, I'm now a little superstitious.
Yeah,
I have thrown the Jets out, and that's the one time where they don't win. What do people like in the chat? Dallas?
Yeah, let's do that. Dallas or Winnipeg on this parlay tonight. Hit us up in the nasty chat or at 780-218-9999.
We'll do a WST parlay for the Jet game. So why don't we throw Dallas and reg?
Okay. Dallas and reg with Detroit on the puck line.
It'll be a bit better. It'll be a bit better of a number.
Florida money line.
Yeah, it gets to plus 605.
Yeah, and that's before boost. So, all right, pass that along to the Cool Bet boys. P. Greg is actually waiting. He's going to join us. This one stinks. This was texted in to 780-218-9999. The Falcons money line cost me both an 8 and a 12 game parlay. Oh, that sucks.
And maybe their season.
Yeah, that too. That's also not a great look. All right, let's bring in Pat Greger from Coolbet. You can find him on Twitter, X, or whatever, at P. Greggy. Patty, how was the weekend, my man? Nice win for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, I was sick all weekend long, but nothing cures, being sick like a big victory, especially against a fraudulent Cowboys team that I've been saying is fraud. So this was a big time double down for me. It was my Bills picking up a win, staying alive in the playoff hunt, and then of course, proving that I know ball and saying that the Cowboys are fraudulent. They can't win on the road. But the Bills, the way that they beat them, man, like that was old school bully ball. That's something that we haven't seen from the Buffalo Bills and since like I don't know when Fred Jackson was their running back. Like we haven't seen that smash mouth football, but they can add that element to their game, man. That's gonna really help them down the stretch. I think they can make noise in the playoffs. The question now is just can they do enough to get into the playoffs?
Yeah, it's kind of the opposite. The AFC teams in the mix are winning, and the NFC teams in the mix are losing. It's explain this to me. If I had told you that Josh Allen would complete only 7 passes and throw for 94 yards, how confident would you have been that they would have won?
I would have been terrified. But let James cook, man. Jimmy Cook has been on fire as of late. Since Joe Brady has come in the fold, they got rid of Ken Dorsey, and Brady's really called a nice few games for them. They're establishing the run, but the physicality from the offensive line that we saw. Deion Dawkins just throwing guys. There's one clip out there. He literally picks up one of the guys on the Cowboys and runs him about 20 yards down the field on that touchdown by Cooks. Like, we just haven't seen this before. But yeah, that stat line was absolutely crazy. Josh Allen saying feels like the kid who, didn't do anything on the project, but just had his name on it and got an A+, because he really didn't have to do much. Sure, he used his legs a little bit, but he handed the ball off. And I think the recipe's out there, how you beat the Cowboys. Well, one, the easiest recipe is don't play them at home. Two is you got to play smash mouth football. Like, this is supposed to be the best defense in the NFL. This is supposed to be the MVP. Well, I think Dak Prescott kissed those odds away, and you can take a look by looking at the odds. There's no way that guy's going to win it. But with that being said, man, like the Cowboys, they're still a really talented team. They're still, they're going to make the playoffs. With the Eagles in flux with some injuries and maybe Jalen Hurts not being healthy right now, and being sick tonight, if they lose there, maybe the division's still up to play. But how do you have any faith in this Cowboys team winning in January with that defense? And if they have to go out on the road and play in a cold environment, I just don't see it, fellas.
Well, they just handed the division back to the Eagles, as long as they can take care of business tonight. Although this is an interesting game against Seattle, we'll get to in a minute. But you know how this is going to shake down, guys. Telling you right now. I mean, I guess my original prediction, if there's some way that the Ravens lose to the Niners, the Dolphins lose to the Ravens. Sorry, the Miami beats the Ravens, and then the Bills beat the Dolphins, the Chiefs could still be the number 1 seed. But assuming that they're not, Wild Card Weekend is going to be a bunch of trash games, and then the Bills and the Chiefs.
Yep.
Like, I feel, and that'll be, listen, it'll be great to get an awesome game like that. Those teams are always amazing when they go each other. It's going to go down. But I just have this feeling that all these other crappy teams that are going to just make it in, and it'll be Mahomes and Allen going first thing. And that'll be perfect. That'll be just Buffalo's luck. They'll get on this big hot run, and then they'll see Mahomes in the playoffs. Although that's a game. I mean, as much as I say, like, I'm confident the Chiefs will win.
We do have to remember here, the Chiefs have nobody who can catch the football, right? So
Kadarius Toney, my God, he did it again. He did it again in perfect ball, right in the hands, turned into a pick. Like, I honestly think he will barely see the field for the rest of the way. Like, they'll have a gadget play or something, like where they hand the ball off to him. But
I
like,
still
Mahomes,
wouldn't trust him. No. But the way the season's gone, I wouldn't put that ball anywhere near that guy's hands.
No, I know Mahomes was so pissed off at the end. I mean, and it's really, really getting to him, I think. But hey, whatever. They won the game. Move on to the next one. You got the Raiders on Christmas Day. That'll be a nice present for everybody. Oh, can we quickly talk about the Vikings-Bengals game? I know that seems like it was like a week ago because it was the early game on Saturday. But, man, okay, the tush-push works for Philly, and then everybody else tries it. They couldn't get half a yard twice and ended up losing the game. And I'm just saying, if you're going to go with the tush-push, can we maybe have someone more than 160 pounds behind Nick Mullins pushing him?
I know.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
That was, and when you have Chandler playing the way that he was in that game, like, how do you not give him the ball once? It's a horrible, horrible loss for Minnesota. I mean, if they had won that game, they would have been 8-6. They would have been comfortably ahead of all of those other teams. Rams are looking good right now, though. I mean, they got a nice win, and they should have probably beat Baltimore the week before. But you know who the player of the week was, I think? Baker Mayfield.
Pretty
Baker
impressive. I mean,
unreal. 4 touchdowns in Green Bay. Big win for the Bucs. I like them now to win the division.
Is it really that hard to win that division, though? I think us three and some fellas from the Nasty Chat could probably put together a good fight in that division. But I want to go back to the Vikings, though, Hus. That's your boy, Kevin O'Connell. Now we've seen a few times him with some really bonehead decisions in these close games. Like I think after his press conference he said like he felt he's let that one slip away. Yeah, no shit, dude, you did. It felt like they were in control for a lot of that game.
Yep.
Nick Mullins looked pretty good. Nick Mullins had a couple of Nick Mullins plays, but hey, guess what? It's Nick Mullins. He's gonna make some Nick Mullins plays. That's just who he is. But like he made some big passes, made some big throws. I don't know what we've done to deserve this, but the amount of matchups where we think like we should have some good quarterback play, and tonight is the perfect example of another one. Like we could have got Geno Smith against Jalen Hurts. Now it's looking like we might have Drew Lock against Marcus Mariota. Like,
Don't say that. Don't say that.
Well, I need 10 points from Jalen Hurts tonight, buddy. Just
that.
shut up with that stuff.
Hey,
to make it happen.
I know I heard that, by the way. Hus, my ruling. I think it's sleazy, but it's fair game. It's gamesmanship. Yeah. That's just a smart GM. That's like the Lightning circumventing the the cap every year, throwing one of their top players on IR.
Yeah, the ethics committee has ruled it's greasy but allowed.
Hey, I know we're gonna get into the Monday nighter here. We'll build a little parlay and stuff. Get some thoughts on that 3.5. However, I do think we have to bring up my beloved Detroit Lions. Who it was Jake on Friday with us who's like, guys, I think we should throw the Lions on here. And if we were just like, well, we just suspended the Lions like on Monday. It's Friday. We can't bet on them 4 days later when we just suspended them and said we would only bet on the total against Dallas 3 weeks from now. So we did get on the Broncos. I said earlier right off the top, I thought the Broncos are going to make that a tight football game. Patty, what are your thoughts on Jared Goff slicing apart that Broncos defense? The Broncos defense that had kind of got them back in the mix in this thing.
Yeah, it's really, I loved the Lions at the start of the year, fellas. Like I was all in on this Lions team. I was betting them like crazy. I was in on them just like you, Dusty. And then some steam started to come off them. They go on the road. They lose some games, or they don't cover the spread, and they barely beat bad teams. And then over the last couple of weeks, they were losing to bad teams. I think if it's in a dome, because these are indoor cats, I think if the game is in a dome, I'm okay with taking them off the suspended list. And I know I was the one who was,
Oh, they're in domes the rest of the way, home and away.
I've got the schedule up here, and it's Vikings in a dome, Cowboys in a dome, and then Vikings again in their dome.
Looks like we're riding them.
The other thing go ahead.
They only need one win or one Minnesota loss to clinch the division.
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing's not slipping away. I mean, they're going to get that done.
Yeah.
Well, if they lost, who does Minnesota have? I mean, listen, if the Vikings beat the Lions at home, they've got the Packers the next week at home. They could win that game. Detroit could absolutely lose to Dallas. And then it actually could still come down to week 18, where the Lions would need to beat the Vikings at home. But that game would be for the division.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a scenario that is entirely possible.
I think it's a stretch. It's possible, but I think it's a bit of a stretch. I mean, I wouldn't have much faith in the Vikings doing anything down the stretch here.
But I just mean it's 2 weeks. Like, they play each other next week in Minnesota.
Yeah, but don't you think the Lions are a significantly better team than the Minnesota Vikings with what they got at quarterback right now?
Yeah. Yeah, I do, but I don't is the line out for that game already? Yeah, I mean the Lions are 3-point favorites.
3 points.
3-point road favorites. So we will see, but
it's in a dome. It's against a
Well, we don't need to wrestle. We don't need to wrestle with our consciences about the Lions until next week, luckily.
I just can't
We do
believe
have to figure out this game, though. And I mean, was this game not 3 for most of the weekend? Because it's 3.5 now. So I guess that tells me that Jalen Hurts is good to go.
I thought I saw it at 3.5 yesterday.
I thought so too.
Yeah. 3.5. 3.5 would lead you to believe that Hurts is ready to roll on the road here, right?
Yes, and I mean, all I'm looking is just for. I mean, I saw Rap did a bit, and it was like the latest on the quarterbacks for tonight's game, and basically didn't say anything other than everything that we knew from the last couple of days. So I don't know, we'll see. But I think one of the guys, what is it? Rod Z just had a beauty. How about this? Seattle 9-0 against the spread as dogs versus the NFC East.
So that
like Philly's been sort of in a dark place, and Jalen Hurts is not 100%.
Like you're thinking if there was a window for a letdown spot here for the Eagles, this would be it?
Or just, I mean, listen, they're playing on the road on Monday Night Football in Seattle. I mean, that's not the easiest of places to play. Their defense has stunk over the course of, a good portion of this season, to be perfectly honest. They've been doing it with the big offense. And if the offense is down, I want them. I'm going to take the over in this game. And I think just basically on principle, because I need to manifest a bunch of fantasy points in this game.
You know what?
Where are you guys?
Well, you know what's interesting about this is Philadelphia comes in, having lost their last two, 42-19 to San Fran, 33-13 to Dallas. Seattle comes in, having lost their last 4, but their last 3 were 31-13 to San Fran, 41-35 to Dallas, 28-16 to San Fran. So the last 5 opponents, essentially, these two teams have been the Cowboys and the Niners. So they're probably dying to see one another here. But I don't know, Pat, do you read in to these head-to-heads against San Fran and Dallas and how the two teams did against them and lead you to believe that this will be a close game tonight?
It's Drew Lock. That's what's scaring me, man. If this is a healthy Geno Smith,
it's a really good point.
I'm all in. But it's Drew Lock. But this is crazy. I just saw a stat here, and there's no way this could be legit. But it's from John Ewing, who's pretty reliable when it comes to a lot of these betting trends. Drew Lock as an underdog is 12-7. That's 63% against the spread. So that's another trend kind of going off our boy Rod Z, the hot rod, throwing out some trends. Figure I'd throw out another trend to help back up him. But I don't know, man. This seems like the perfect get right spot for the Eagles too. Everyone kind of out and down on them. Another thing that's concerning though for the Eagles is just mid-season, Matt Patricia is now just their defensive coordinator. I don't know if Matt Patricia is the one that you bring in to figure things out.
I have a theory on this.
Let's hear it, because I don't know why.
It's because Big Dom got suspended and banned from the sidelines. Big Dom is actually the defensive coordinator. But they're now trying to hide it because he's a thing. So they're just saying it's Patricia, but he's going to be hooked up, and Big Dom will be smoking a stogie somewhere up in the press box potentially, and letting them know, hey, they need to get better. And Patricia, for all of his warts, and Dusty is a Lions fan, I'm sure. It's always hilarious when you hear Luke Wilson on TSN talk about Patricia. It's like the worst head coach that he's ever had. He does know defense pretty well. He's
a coordinator. That's his role. He's not going to be a head coach again anywhere. He had his shot.
Not an offensive coordinator. The Patriots found that out pretty quickly.
Yeah, exactly. As far as a parlay goes for this game tonight, boys, the Eagles player props look like they're off the board right now. I'm just seeing the Seattle props as we wait for official word on exactly what's going to happen with Hurts tonight. So what are you guys seeing on that side of this game? We got TD scores are up there, but player reception yards, catches, rush yards right now. seem to be off.
Probably pretty tough to put one together with only one of the two.
I know,
teams.
it's tough.
Especially the team that is going to have likely Drew Lock quarterback.
We might have to text about this and actually just tweet it out later.
Yeah.
Once we get the confirmation on Hurts here.
Yeah, that's I think it's Hurts a big reason, but too, I mean, like if Hurts doesn't go, then obviously that completely changes even, the odds for the running back DeAndre.
Well, that's a significant switch on it. Yeah, I can see why they're waiting on it for sure. What do you guys think it does to the line if Hurts has announced that he's out? With the Eagles right now at 3.5. What do you think that's at a kickoff if Hurts isn't playing?
Well, it'll go down a bit. I would think it probably goes to 3 or 2.5. I mean, it's not going to be like Seattle's the favorite.
No,
I don't think anything could.
I think this line is also kind of melted in that Hurts might not be at full strength, anyways. Because I think if it's a healthy Hurts,
at least 4.5.
Yeah, if it's a healthy Hurts and Drew Lock is likely to play for the Seahawks, we're looking at a bigger line here. So I think there's a bit of it in there. Yeah, I don't see this going below 2.5. That's probably likely where we'll see. But yeah, we'll have to stay appraised when it comes to these players. It's really tough. It is really tough. I mean, is there any Seahawks numbers that we do like? I like DK Metcalf over 57.5, whether it's Drew Lock, Geno Smith, or whoever, quite frankly, is under center. One thing that we can safely say is that this Eagles secondary has been just horrific, like absolutely terrible. They can't cover anyone. And I think Metcalf consistently has hit this over 57.5. I really like it. I've been kind of leaning on him. I think he did really well for us a few weeks ago for this Seattle Cowboys game. I think it might have been a Thursday nighter as well. I think he cashed on a couple of props for us there. So I like Metcalf there. I think, again, Drew Lock, say what you will about Drew Lock. He can sling it around. Like, he can throw the ball around. It's just he will make 2 or 3 absolutely boneheaded decisions that probably will cost you. I don't think there's really any reason to not think that he's going to at least be able to air it out a little bit. Like, he's got a good arm. He can get outside of the pocket. He's mobile. It's just, again, he's just not the greatest decision maker. Let's leave it at that.
I'm on JSN tonight. I like JSN, and I think I'm just going to go with the receptions over 3.5 receptions. Like these last 2 games, which I think in a lot of ways you can sort of compare to tonight's game because they gave up a lot against Dallas and San Fran. They're going to probably be down in this game. I'd imagine they're going to need to throw. The last 2 games have been far and away his busiest games. I mean, he had 11 targets against the Cowboys and 7 catches. And last week against San Fran, he had 7 targets for 4 catches, but only 25 yards. So, I mean, he's such a good route runner, and I think he's like a guy that they'll just have these quick outs, try to get a first down or something like that. And he could be a real safety valve for Drew Lock if Drew's in. So, minus 120 to the over on 3.5 is kind of where I'd look if I was looking at a Seattle prop for this game tonight.
And
I can get behind that.
I'm a DGen here because I like the kicker over 5.5 fantasy points and Jason Myers. That's like us. If you like the over in this game, I mean, there's going to be some points scored here. Right now, it's over 5.5 kicking points at minus 143 for Myers. I was just looking back at his game log because, I love to look at kicker game logs. But his last 2 games, he's finished with 5 fantasy points. But prior to that, 9, 15, 21, 3, 6, 9, 9, 6, 18, 7, and 8. So he only hasn't gone over this number 3 times all season. And in a game in which, they're at home here against the Eagles, whether whoever's at quarterback, if we're expecting this game to even be anywhere around 45 points tonight, I think I'd be more than confident throwing Myers over 5.5 kicking points into a little parlay as well.
Geez, we want to do DK yards, JSN catches, and Myers kicking points. This
Well,
would be our Seattle special.
Why don't we do that? Why don't we go with one Seattle special, and then if we get word from, if it's not a game time decision,
Yeah, if we hear
and
something
do see
earlier in the day, yeah.
we hear something earlier, maybe we fire out an Eagles parlay, and we have one we ride with Seattle, one we ride with primarily Eagles props. Because I think we can all.
There's definitely enough on the Eagles that we can come up with, 3 easy.
Brown at this point. Maybe if Mariota's playing, maybe not. But the way that Brown has been playing this season, you can't really set that number high enough for me not to think about betting it. But for me, Swift, healthy Hurts or not, I'd be hammering his total. I think they really try to run the ball here because Seattle's secondary is pretty strong as well. They defend the pass really well. Where they've struggled is against the run. So
Swift touchdown plus 152. I don't know if the brotherly shove gets altered because Hurts is sick in a football game.
No.
Probably not. But if we like a steady diet of Swift in this game, anytime TDs plus 152.
Okay, so let's do that. We'll put the Seahawks one together. We'll get that up. We'll be on standby for the Eagles, and we'll have two. We'll have it's a Christmas week special. You get two.
Yeah,
you get two, folks.
Well, we got to win this hockey parlay tonight too. Get us back.
Right.
Yeah, did you guys get that hockey parlay, Patty?
No, not yet. So we'll make sure.
Okay, but you know the games.
You have it though,
or do you need it again?
Give it to me again, just so I don't know if I don't know.
So we had Dallas in regulation.
Yeah, Dallas in regulation.
Yep.
The
Detroit puck line.
Okay.
And Panthers money line.
Panthers money line. Oh, that's right. You guys chickened out with the Jets. That's probably my best bet for the puck for puck tonight. I like them in reg. I even would consider them on the
puck line tonight too.
I understand. Hus, you're a man of principles.
I'm gonna fire you guys over a WST parlay specifically to the Jet game.
Perfect. So just make sure I've got that right. So Dallas in reg, Detroit puck line, and then Florida money line.
Yeah, you bet.
Hus, you got to go.
I got to.
How about chat with Patty about a thing in the nasty chat? So what's coming up on Winnipeg Sports Talk?
Yeah, well, we're be revisiting a magical Saturday
what
night.
a run in Winnipeg right now, hey buddy? And Patty Neufeld signs an extension.
I was just about to say Patty Neufeld signed. Hopefully we'll get him on the show probably tomorrow. Mike McIntyre will join us for a bunch of Jets talk, and then Connor Rabchak will jump back in. We'll do a bit of an NFL roundtable for the last half hour or so of the program, and I will release the WST parlay for tonight's game. I have a feeling we might be continuing to ride Gabriel Velarde, who's hot. He can tie PLD in goals for the season in his 12th game today. It's a beautiful. By the way, if anyone has seen PLD, please return him to the crypto.com.
He's already dead, man. He's already dead. Leave him alone. All right, Winnipeg Sports Talk coming up. We got the Fantasy Football 5 here, but Hus, we'll let you go. And Pat and I are going to get to a couple of comments here. Patty, Duck Dad says, Steel Air Hus. Patty, can you explain what the double up matches campaign is on Coolbet right now? We got some people asking about that.
Yeah, it actually looks like Mark A in the chat has already answered. So basically, it's a snowball promotion. So if you win, you keep doubling your bet up to 7 days, and if you reach the 7 days, you get a chance to win at the jackpot. So,
so you got to run the table on the 7, and then you go into the jackpot.
Exactly. Yeah. So and yeah. So that was a really good explanation by Mark A.
Mark's all over it, hey?
I know. He knows every single promo in the Coolbet log probably better than Jake and I even know.
Well, yeah, he lays it out. He goes, I made it to day 6 of 7, but lost when KC lost to the Bengals 2 years ago. So
there you go.
That's good stuff. I thought maybe we'd be on the Jets today, but Hus, I guess you're going to lay out a WST parlay, but I'm with you. I really like Winnipeg tonight, man. I thought he was, if Dallas kills us on this parlay, I'm going to be pretty disappointed. It's going to be tough.
He's going to have to wear it. He'll have to wear it. So just before I get going here, just for that Seahawks parlay.
Yeah.
So I make sure I've got it. It was the receptions for
JSN, yards for DK.
Yards
And
for
then if
DK.
we're playing the initials
And then-
game, over 5.5 points for JM.
Perfect. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
JM. Let's ride.
Beauty.
I love it. And then, folks in the chat now, in the nasty chat, keep an eye out to our socials, to Dusty and Hus's socials. We'll make sure we get that. If we do get an Eagles parlay up, we'll make sure to get that up.
All right, and Lock Shot Play of the Day will be coming up later on the Cool Bet socials as well. I think I was 4-1 2 weeks ago, and I'm pretty sure Hus was 4-1 last week. So we got to keep that rolling as well. We're 8-2 in our last 10 on the Lock Shop Plays of the Day. Patty, we'll talk to you probably on Thursday, I guess.
Absolutely.
All right.
Can't wait.
There you go. That is Pat Gregoire from Cool Bets, and that'll take us into the Fantasy Football 5. All right, let's get into it. Fantasy Football 5 as we get into, essentially our final week of Fantasy Football 5, because I'm going to be taking off to the Spangler this weekend, and Fantasy Football ends next week. Semifinal action this week, followed by the finals the next week. So if you have any questions, now would be the time, 780-218-9999. If it's about tonight's game, it's going to be a little bit of a tough call, that's for sure. Simply because we do not know what's happening with Jalen Hurts tonight, and that's going to throw a major wrench into things. What I do know is that I only need him to, I don't care if he comes in, give me 50 yards passing and a rushing touchdown and like 10 yards on the ground, and then you can leave for the rest of the game. It does not matter. This is what I've got on the line here in the in my Marvel versus DC Fantasy League tonight. I am at 106.95 points. Thor, son of Odin, who I'm going against, and actually this is big. This would be huge because I came into this thing as the number 5 seed at 9-5. Men of Steel. That's my team name. This is full-blown nerds. This is sports and Marvel comic nerds colliding in this league. Thor, son of Odin, is 12-2 and the number 1 seed, and I've got him on the brink. I just need 10 points from Jalen Hurts tonight. And this is a super flex / 2 QB league in which I have both Aaron Rodgers and Kirk Cousins on my IR. So Jalen Hurts, you're our only hope now. Hopefully he can get it done. Mostert, 19 points for me this week. Diggs did nothing. Josh Allen did not even throw the ball. This worked out well. I started Robinson with the Rams in a tough spot. He got me 15 points. Travis Kelce. But where's Travis Kelce? Let's have a conversation here. Where does Travis Kelce get drafted next year? He was going like mid to late first round this year. Ever since he started hooking up with Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce's kind of fallen off in the fantasy game. It's been a major buzzkill. He will not be a first rounder next year. There's no way. He finished with 5 catches for 28 yards this past week. CEH, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I had to start him too due to an injury to Keenan Allen. And he got me 21 points. Mixon had an okay week. Cortland Sutton's been pretty good this year. I had to start Miles Sanders because I'm down in quarterback. But I need Jalen Hurts to knock off a pretty darn good club on the other side. 12-2. Can we take him down a 12-2 team in the quarterfinals? Let's go. I like that one. Uchaz says, Dolphins D and kicker have helped me get to round 2, barring an unreal night from the Eagles D. What a time to be alive. Yes, I would agree with that as well. If you can get into the fantasy football semifinals. Maddie, quickly with you. I didn't even look at the Rusty Truck playoffs this week. How'd you do? Oh,
What do you think?
Oh, you rolled?
Top 4 teams basically all going to move on. If you look at we're Maine, I'm going to move on. It's not even close. P Sweat's going to move on. Numbers are going to move on. Fat boy, little boy, fat man, little boy.
Too.
It's going to be just like the 4 beasts of points this year.
The big boys.
All there, and I think I'm 4th out of 4 against them.
Not
it's
even close. No. All 4 of you just rolling.
Yeah, I still have a player tonight.
10-3, 9-4, 10-3, 9-5 teams advancing.
Yeah.
Wow. Who will you play? Do you know who you'll play?
P Sweat.
Oh, it could be you and number final here, buddy.
I don't think so.
You don't think you get past Peace Sweat?
You want to know something? I've been into the Final Four of this league now. This is probably going to be my 5th time or whatever. I've never been able to crack it to the final.
Really?
Never.
Well, get into that nice money.
Oh, that's the guaranteed money or whatever. But in the end, it's for me. Like,
Peace Sweat has a pretty good lineup.
he's got Lamar. Like the benefit is it's Ravens going up against the 49ers.
Oh,
Is there a value there? But I want my Ravens to win that football game. I want the Ravens to get that AFC number 1 spot. You go beat the 49ers on Christmas Day. Boom. We're looking really good for getting that number 1. It's basically going to be ours. Just got to go beat the Steelers in that last game of the season. Doesn't matter against the Dolphins. So maybe they win that game in a running game. Maybe that's the benefit I get. But it'll be tight. But yeah, I'm going to get the win.
Let's get to this text. I like it. Fantasy Football 5, of course, brought to you all season by our great partners at Century Casino, the sports bar and lounge. Thanks to your tutelage throughout the year, Dusty, I've made the playoffs in all 3 leagues this year and captured a bye in 2 of them, which gives me the luxury of picking my defense ahead of time. In Week 16, what are 2 good Ds to stream? I currently have Cleveland and Miami, who both run into some tough matchups. I'm thinking Philly against the Giants. What say you? Well, I mean, starting any defense against the Giants, I think you have to be pretty happy with that spot. Let's just take a look here. The Browns versus banged up Texans. That's not the worst matchup in the world. And who does Miami get this week? Isn't that a big time game? Yeah, they play the Dallas Cowboys. You definitely don't want to start the Miami Dolphins. But yeah, I'd probably take Philly versus the Giants ahead of Cleveland against Houston. But if for some reason you can't make that switch, Cleveland against Houston isn't a horrible matchup defensively, just because the Browns' defense has been pretty darn good so far this season. But Philly against Giants is a nice little play as well. All right. What's that noise? What's humming around out here? Oh, is that what they're doing in that other office over there? EST offices just continue to grow. That's not our office. It's the neighbors. All right. Oil Stream is coming up. We'll figure out what you do with Connor Brown and Ryan McLeod. Here's the solution. Play them together. Oil Stream coming up. Don't go anywhere here on Edmonton Sports Talk.